In our last video, I gave you a structure for greater focus, productivity, and accountability. I gave you the format, and our end product looked like this. We had broken down this employee, Robert Benson. His work, we'd gotten it to what are the most important roles that he must fulfill, what are the 90-day goals called rocks that show major progress towards fulfillment of these roles, and then what does that boil down to in the expected progress we need to see next week when we come back? That is, what's Rob's job? What is he working on this week? So that's the first part. The second part, of course, is a conversation where we come back together with whoever Robert's manager is, sits down with him and talks about the work that was done. I've got a simple conversation protocol for you that will absolutely supercharge your one-on-ones. Okay, I'm going to share it with you today. Yes, it works for this. And even if for some reason you go, I don't like that format, you know what? This conversation process will absolutely work for any other type of performance management structure that you use. So let's get started. So thanks for coming back. Please do hit like, hit subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Now, let's talk about the conversation process. Again, you've got a tool. This is documented. You left last week's meeting knowing what Robert was expected to do, and Robert left last week's meeting with that same expectation. Okay, now we come back together and we talk about it. And I'm going to give you these questions in order. The first question, and this is really very intricate, detailed, hard, so just pay real close attention here, okay? So the first question is, how are you doing? That's a real tough one, right? So my point, how are you doing relative to each of the Rolls-Royce expected progress markers that we established last week? So we're going to come back and say, hey, how's it working in your marketing role, Robert? Talk to me about what you accomplished. And Robert should be able to say, yep, I got the video done. I got actually 2 logs turned out. All right, so Robert should be coming back. Robert knew that this was the work plan for this week. So Robert should be able to come back and report either on successful accomplishment of these or in some ways that it didn't work and why, which then we should troubleshoot if I'm Robert's manager. Okay, so that's the first question. Real simple. Second, equally difficult, tough, intricate question is, how am I doing? That is, how am I doing as your manager? Yes, you signed on to do this work. But the truth is, I'm here if I am, I don't mean to be confusing you. I'm trying to use an example of myself as if I were talking to this other person. You get the idea. If I'm any person's manager, yes, they signed on to do the work, but it's my role to support them. It's my role to remove roadblocks. It's my role to help them get any resources they need, to encourage them, right? So in you being successful, if you're the employee, let's talk about how you're doing, but then we're going to turn the tables because this is a partnership. How am I doing as your manager? The third question is, what can we do better? So not only are we looking at the actual work that you need to produce, but we're talking about our relationship together so that we fine-tune and enhance our capability to do good work week after week after week. Fourth question, and this is where we start turning to, okay, so what's next week look like? That is, what is expected progress expected progress for next week? So this is where we go down to, so this likely hasn't changed unless we found something of real significance when we were talking about how last week went that blew some of these out of the water. Oh, we can't do that. Unlikely. Your roles don't change. Your rocks don't change. What changes is, yeah, what you going to work on this week? Okay? There may be, if you knocked off all of these, we might up some of these because we know you have the capacity for it and you can be even more successful in your role. Okay? If you struggled, we might need to shift, change, diminish a few of them if time was the issue or resources were the issue. But this is a place where this row keeps being shifted, changed every week, fine-tuned, so that more and more and more it represents the very best that I can be expected to do and be successful at. So it's pretty cool. So it evolves a little bit over time. Okay? So what is expected progress? And then 5, what might get in the way? And so this is, I mentioned at the end of last week's video, there is actually one more row in this particular tool, and this is issues and challenges. And so what we want to do for every one of these, the markers that we're going to use for our week, what we're asking is, so what could get in the way? What would make it difficult for you to do that video, blog, newsletter, tweet, LinkedIn? Thanks. Okay. What would make it difficult to have those 2 substantive conversations? What would make it difficult for you to be learning more about these people strategies if that was our weekly expected progress? Now, some of the time, the answer is going to be, no, I've got this. Okay, nothing. But you should always ask the question. Because we want, whenever something came up, it could be, I've got to take my kids. Remember we're at home? I've got to take care of my kids and they're not being able to go back to school. And so I don't have the time to do this, right? I'm going to need some help with some of my marketing materials because I ran into an issue on the website. I can't get in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't know what the issues will be, but you should always ask because that enables you to work with the employee to fine-tune the plan so that they're more likely to be successful. So there may be some stuff in each of these, and there may not be any, but you always check. And then the last question is simply, what else? What else do we need to talk about? What else is significant in terms of your performance, our relationship, where we're going? What's on your heart, right? Now, these are called, well, RR Epic. I don't have another acronym for it. That stands for, you guessed it, roles, rocks, expected progress, issues, and challenges. Okay, well, that's what that stands for. But these are epic one-on-ones in the sense that they're focused, they're performance-based, they're relational in nature, okay? They're getting us to figure out what we need to do. And because they happen on a weekly basis, here's another point. Every week, exact same time, and both of you and the employee, know that this is the only agenda. This is all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk through these 6 questions. It enables people to prepare. It enables us to be right on the point. We do not waste time. Oh man, this is good stuff. I'm sorry, this is just good. So here's what my recommendation is to you. Adopt this. Use this with everybody in your company. There is no person who has a job that this cannot be done for. Actually, why do I have energy behind that? The client that I initially built this for and suggested deferred because they got to the place where they said, well, this just doesn't apply to some people. And I unfortunately wasn't able to communicate the universality of this. This applies to every person, the CEO, the CFO, the COO, etc., 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 down to the person who takes out the trash. So, can be done. We just need to think through. And honestly, the challenge, so here's the pushback you're going to get from using this structure and this as a weekly conversation basis. It puts everybody, we're all on the hook. We're all very clear on what we're supposed to be doing. We all know that somebody is going to be having a conversation with us over very clear specifics. And honestly, I think for most people, it's just a little easier to skate. If I don't have quite that scorecard, if we're can kind of talk around it, then I don't have to be, I won't be scored, which is a little concerning, I think, for everyone. But it's also liberating. It gets us to do our best work. We're working towards things that we can actually see progress. We can look back over 90 days and say, wow, we did some stuff that was significant, that leads to business success. So, once again, this is the second of 2 videos. If you haven't seen the first one, you need to watch it. You got to see both of these. They're both a little bit longer, but I had a lot of stuff to say, and I think it's good. So, tune in. Watch the other video, watch this video. Oh, by the way, I did ask last time, where else have we seen the 90-day window? And I forgot to give the answer. The short answer is that's OKRs. That's the beauty of it. This is based on sound science. What else? So, if you want this tool, and I have a 2-page tool right here that I've referred to a couple of different times, right? So one, it's just simply got the same grid. I mean, you can create this for yourself. It's a table in Word. And then those 6 questions. And let's get everybody filling this out with their employee. You don't fill this out by yourself. You don't make it up. You sit down, you have a conversation with your employee so that you know you're both on the same page about their roles and about their rocks and about what they need to be doing this week. So you fill it out the first time, and then you come back the second time, and you use these 6 questions, and you repeat, lather, rinse, repeat, over and over and over again. And just watch if everybody isn't more successful, effective, excited about the work they're doing, and where accountability doesn't become a dirty word. It's really something we're all just playing because now we have a structure in place for it. Leave me your comments down below, and yeah, put this to you. Tell me how you're using this.